What like? So I'm hoping that this sounds alright because I'm using my phone to record this. But it was an article I came across the other day, the 27th of May, and I've had it sat on one of my phone tabs for a wee while now with the intention of either looking further into what the article's actually talking about or alternatively just making a video on it. And I've just decided to just show this for anybody that hasn't actually seen this particular headline, article even. I mean, it's not exactly groundbreaking news. It's not exactly world changing. But regardless, especially when you compare and contrast the sort of political rhetoric that you hear from the mainstream media and politicians in Hollywood, etc., you know, they just, their narratives don't particularly align with the everyday person. And this is just yet another article that's come out to sort of verify my previous claim. So, immigration has been ranked as a top concern for Scots, a new report has revealed, right? And as I say, this isn't exactly groundbreaking. The statistics that are mentioned in the article aren't anything to write home about. And on top of that, I'm not really somebody that's ever really bought too much into polls and whatnot because, you know, you could ask the same question to a brand new group of people the next day and potentially the sort of figures, the data will be different from the day prior, but there is a sort of underlying growing, somewhat growing, slowly but growing, why that car pass, change in attitudes, which has been going on for quite a few years. So, healthcare and cost of living have remained top priorities as immigration enters the top five concerns for the first time in the latest Understanding Scotland report. Over the last year, the Understanding Scotland Economy Tracker, produced by the Edinburgh based consultancy company Diffley Partnership and think tank David Hume Institute, have identified a shift in public concerns as well as rising economic unease. The tracker surveys Scots every quarter of a year to measure behaviour and attitudes towards society, the economy, and the environment, with the latest survey being conducted in May of this year, which received 2,300 plus responses from those aged over 16, which found healthcare and the cost of living remained the most pressing issues, cited by around half and over a third of people overall. Just on a wee side note, what really fucks me off, especially with the cost of living stuff, even healthcare actually, or energy concerns or energy bills in and of themselves, is you time after time hear people in our parliament speaking to no end about why this is exactly why we need to, accelerate towards the green revolution. you know so artificial inflation of energy bills, etc., courtesy of based in red pill Papa Putin, the war in Ukraine, inflation, sanctions and whatnot, right? That sort of kick-started the whole process of energy bills and whatnot, and their solution to this day is still the exact same as it was even prior to the war in Ukraine or the restarting of the war in Ukraine, which was we need to move away from fossil fuels, dependency on fossil fuels, and in turn put all of our focus into heat pumps and the green revolution or the green industrial revolution, etc. It's almost as if, dare I say, problem reaction solution. But regardless of that fact, they are artificially inflating people's bills, etc., and then they provide you with solutions, or laying the groundworks for said solutions to be implemented at a later date. Anyway, the next issue cited was poverty, 17%. However, for the first time since the tracker began in October of 2021, immigration has joined the top five public concerns as it rises by 6% since last year and is 12% higher compared to just 2 years ago. Immigration is now ranked as a top issue by 16% of Scots, the same amount of people who mark the economy as a standard concern. According to the study, immigration is more of a concern to those aged 55 to 64 and those living in the most deprived areas of the country. I'd also be very curious to know if the people who participated in this, who have expressed their concerns about immigration, if they're living in parts of the country that are well and truly enriched, so to speak. And I've spoken multiple times in multiple videos and whatnot. I don't need to repeat myself too much, but in my time with the last two of my ex-partners, one of which was from Edinburgh, the other was from the Glasgow area, Every single time I went down from the Highlands to down to those parts, I was somewhat fucking shocked because they are everywhere down there. You know, it's very, very, very much multicultural down there. But I don't have to live amongst that as of yet. However, for the poor people in some instances, such as Gavin Hill, etc., who have to live with that on a day to day basis, I would be curious to know if these are the sorts of people who are participating in these sorts of studies and whatnot, you know. Because it's all very well and good for people up here to continuously preach to the choir that as in Scotland, we're so much more different, we're open, we're progressive, we're inclusive, we crave that enrichment. Yeah, it's all very well and good. A metaphorical fucking high horse that we sit upon until the problem lands on your own doorstep. Interesting to know. I don't know though. Trust in politics was also cited as a key concern, with 15% of those surveyed marking it as such, up 2% since the last tracker. For the first time in 4 years, this is from a senior research manager. For the first time in 4 years, immigration has joined healthcare and the cost of living as one of the key issues for Scots, and this will continue to increase as time goes on. You know, we are not immune to the problem. We are not a different fucking species. Okay, despite the virtue signaling that would have you believe otherwise. You know, we're not different up here. You might see all these ball bags waving their rainbow flags and their EU saltars flags at their independence marches, banging on about how they just wish to open those borders, etc., etc. Until the problem starts to emerge here. Yeah, see how fucking much they speak about it after that fact. As the 2026 Scottish Parliament election approaches, political parties will be tracking voter sentiment towards those issues that are causing concerns for voters. Meanwhile, voters will be looking for politicians to offer solutions that address the immediate economic challenges and improve financial stability across the country. Yeah, well, it's always the same though, is it not? For as long as I have been politically aware, you know, it's always been the same. Problems get created, and every single time there is an election, these dickheads, irrespective of which brand they represent, they always claim they're going to solve the problems. And they fucking don't. Unfortunately, in a Scottish context, we seem to end up with the same dickheads in power every single time because they promise you a referendum. You know? But I guess the question is, would things really be different if another party got in instead? Probably not. Food for thought. Adios.